Hey everyone, Carl Gruber here, host of The World Awakenings, the Fast Track to Enlightenment podcast. And I am just over the moon excited about my guest for episode number 117. I am talking about world-renowned Feng Shui and Law of Attraction master teacher Marie Diamond. You will know her from the 2006 movie where she was one of the featured teachers in The Secret, a global phenomenon. So come with me. Join me and Marie Diamond right here on World Awakenings. This is going to open your mind and heart to things you never thought possible.
This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
You've seen and read my 3 Pillars ebook, and now I'm proud to announce my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and it's now out and ready for reading. This new book of mine is a full-length version of the teachings of the 3 Pillars, and in it I show you how to walk in the integrity of eternal universal laws, in step with the law of attraction to consistently create the life you desire. Now, if you've ever wondered just why you can't consistently manifest all the good, loving, abundant, healthy, and happy things you desire, my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, will reveal the key in how to do just that. Plus, help you build a rock-solid personal foundation that will stand strong for the ages. Get your copy today. My new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship by Carl Gruber. Available now in ebook and paperback on Amazon.com. Hey, you've tuned into World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment. I am your host, Carl Gruber, and this is episode number 117. Now, before we meet our featured guest, please take a moment to click the link below in the show notes to grab your copy of my book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship. A book that will help you build a rock-solid personal foundation for your life and become a consistent co-creator of your life with the universe. Now, all I can say about this show is that I am totally over the moon excited and grateful to have one of the world's best teachers of the law of attraction, Feng Shui, and an energy master, Marie Diamond, on today's show. Marie is a global transformational and motivational leader and international best-selling author, and many of you will know her as being one of the featured teachers in the movie The Secret, released in 2006, which of course spilled the beans on The Secret, no longer The Secret, the Law of Attraction. Hey, Marie, welcome to World Awakenings. We're so honored to have you here on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Carl. I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, I guess you can tell I'm a little excited, but it's great. I mean, you have been such a positive influence on the world, and, you know, so many people know you from your appearance in the movie The Secret, but you have expertise far beyond the law of attraction. What I would like to know is what made you interested in studying, practicing, and teaching all these beautiful, enlightening things?
Well, I think I was very early on already. When I was like 7, I was already having a spiritual mentor that taught me meditation. So I started meditating when I was 7 years old. And that was for me very important because I saw energy. So I was a clairvoyant child. And so I was not able to handle a lot of what I was seeing at that time. You know, there were wandering spirits, if there were auras or chakras or the energy of houses. So by learning to meditate, that calmed me down and gave me some sense of I had control over things, instead of being, overwhelmed by the energies that I saw. But I would say really something shifted for me when I was 15, and I was run over by a truck and had a near-death experience.
Whoa.
And when I was on the other side, where there were all beings of light, um, I was given the message that I had to go back and that I was here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Now, I had no idea what that meant at that time. So 500 million people, like today, I would like start up a TikTok channel or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, right? But at that time, I had no idea first what it meant because I come from a Catholic background in Belgium. So, we don't talk about enlightenment, but I just felt it was about making a difference. Yeah. And so I focus every day about that message. So I would say every mornings praying to God, meditating, I am here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Show me how. That was my catchphrase. Yeah. And as I was doing that, I started seeing where I could be of help. I attracted, of course, people that needed help. If that was on the street or in the classroom, I was only 15, right? But I was also very, confused about why I attracted this accident. And so when I met my spiritual mentor again, I asked him, what did I do wrong? I mean, what happened that I had to go to this accident? And he said at that time, because I was aware of the law of attraction, I was aware of positive thoughts about gratitude, I was aware of a lot of things at that time already. And he told me that I had bad feng shui. Now, at that time, again, I had no clue what that meant. And he explained to me that my environment was affecting my subconscious mind and that I better move out of the room that I was staying in. What I really hated, that room. It was just like gloomy. This is my sister's room. The wrong things were there. And then I moved to a place where I decorated myself. I painted it in certain colors that he suggested. I did not have posters, so I drew my own posters, and I wanted to have friends and I wanted to have romance because I was beaten up at school. I was very bullied because I was too nerdy for them. I was interested in mathematics and religion. I mean, it was not a normal 15-year-old, I would say, So that was really interesting. After doing and changing some of my basic first feng shui steps, like literally my life turned around. The bullies stopped bullying me. They became friendly. I started having friends. I started my first boyfriend. So it was like within a few weeks, things shifted tremendously. And as from that moment on, I was aware that there was a part of the law of attraction that is not just a mindset. It's not just how I feel. It's not just about my destiny, my karma, but it's also about where I live and sleep and what surrounds me. And it's only, when I was about 30 that I started really practicing more in-depth feng shui, studying with grandmasters in Malaysia. But till that moment, I was just looking of making a difference, And so for me, making a difference was like, oh, perhaps if I would be working in politics, working as a diplomat. So I became actually an international lawyer. So that's what I thought could make a difference if I would be part of the UN or, NGOs or something, the government. So I started working with the government and then later on the European government. And because of that, it started, I was reaching more and more people, but indirectly, of course, not directly. And when I was 31, I felt like I needed to go directly. And meanwhile, I already had an enlightenment experience at 26 after many years of meditation. And so I started teaching literally at 31, started teaching about energy, enlightenment, feng shui. We did not call it the law of attraction at that moment. That word was not known for us. That became more popular, I would say, with The Secret. But I was always focusing on how to reach more and more people. And so one day when I was 38, I literally moved to America. I immigrated. And then from there on, things snowballed like in bigger and bigger numbers, becoming part of the Transformation Leadership Council that was set up by Jack Canfield of the Chicken Soup for the Soul and Success Principles. And that's where I was filmed for The Secret. I mean, I'm the only European teacher in The Secret. And I was probably the most unknown of everybody that was there. Yeah. But you know, I knew that I could contribute to The Secret because I felt that a lot of people are talking about the mindset, but they were never talking about the mindset of their environment and where they were living, sleeping, and working. So I contributed that part. So it was kind of mixed in with the rest of The Secret. And of course, that opened doors worldwide so that now with The Secret, we have reached more than 500 million people.
Wow, and there we have Marie Diamond's life from the beginning to this up now. Wow,
Yes.
wow, you haven't been bored over the years, have you?
I have not been bored. I've been, you know, really reaching millions of people worldwide, and but it's in a different way than you know, using energy and letting people become aware of the vibration of energy, not just in themselves, you know, by clearing and deblocking and teaching them meditation, but also about the energy of their space that they're living in.
Well, you know, I would just like to go back for a moment on your youth. When you were young, at the age of 7, you're already doing meditation. You're clairvoyant. Now, you must have had parents that were open to what you were doing and trying to guide. How did a mentor, a spiritual mentor, find you? Did your parents suggest it, or just happen to find you?
No, it is what we call an ascended master that appeared for me and that started sharing information with me. And so, but my parents were very open because, you know, they were Catholics, but there was a Catholic priest that had predicted my birth to them and told them that I would be very clairvoyant and that whatever I would tell them, they needed to accept it. It came from God, it came from the divine, and that I would be of great service to humanity. So they were warned, alerted that there was something special with me. So I grew up as a normal child, but whatever I would say or predict or tell about them, they would just accept it, they would listen, and they didn't make a big fuss about it. So that's kind of the thing. But even if I shared, like, you know, somebody appeared in front of me and told me certain things, and they were like, okay, that's good. So they were never upset and they were never afraid. And that made it for me acceptable that, you know, this was part of my normal life.
And I find that interesting that you come from a Catholic family because one of my most popular shows, I interviewed one of the most famous teachers of A Course in Miracles in the world, Gary Renard. I don't know if you know Gary, but Gary was on the show and he was talking about Catholicism and said that Catholicism, especially in South America, is much more mystical than people realize. And so that jives with what you said. And one other thing about your youth, I mean, so you had an ascended master that must have come to you during meditation, right?
Yes, he actually, I was playing. I was playing in my playroom. And so this man just appeared and I recognized him. I was like, oh, there you are. So for me, it was like a natural thing, to be honest. Um, and so apparently my mother told me later on that I had, you know, other visitors that when I was a child, I saw Virgin Mary. And so I was very open to mystical experiences. And, you know, it's interesting about Catholicism. For me, you know, I was reading a lot about the mysticy, you know, the Catholic mysticy, their biographies, you know, their information. So for me, it was like, oh, you know, others had similar experience. So I thought I would go straight into religion and becoming a nun. So that was kind of, I thought, would be my pathway, you know? because, reading about Francis and Saint Teresa, not that I thought I would be like them, but I was like, oh, this is apparently the way to go. And I remember when I was 18, I was like, I had to make a choice. Do I go into university or do I go into a monastery? I mean, I was having that conversation at 18, but I felt that if I wanted to reach so many people, if that was my purpose, that I probably needed to do it in a different way. I did not know which way. Literally, my friends always told me, like, Marie, there were only two ways for you. There's or you go in a monastery or you go into psychiatry. That's kind of their joke with me, because I was telling about my experiences. Well, it was very weird for them, right? And I told them there must be a third way. There must be a third option. I don't know what it's called yet, but I'm sure there is a third option for me. And yeah, that was becoming a spiritual teacher and becoming part of the secret. Like, so there was a third option open for me.
And one last thing, I'm curious again about your youth. You got hit by a truck, which actually temporarily killed you, and you came back. How did that scenario happen? Were you not paying attention? You walk out into the street, or?
No, no, I was actually on with a bike coming from school, and so I was literally driving when there was a double truck, like a truck with two parts, and the first part hit me, and I was actually falling under the second part. Yeah. So I don't remember that, but there was a policeman driving behind me at that point, also with a bike. We were in Belgium, everybody drives with bikes there. And so he told me later on, and that was his story, that I was already falling under, so I would have to be smashed by the wheels of the second part of the truck. But at that moment, he saw this bright light. That's what his words were, with like a being of, like a woman, he said, it was like a woman face. And he said, I saw you suddenly being catapulted. I mean, I was already so much going to the left side, I should have been falling down. But he said, you were like catapulted into the right side, away from the truck, like 50 meters further. He said, literally, it was 50 meters further. And I was, falling on my head, and my whole face was scraped off. Like literally, I had no skin anymore. And so he told me that a year later. He was like, he had been struggling for a year with the story. And so I was dead. I mean, they tried to revive me, it didn't work. So my mother was warned by neighbors, because I was very close to my house. And she ran to the place of the accident, and they already put a blanket over me, like she's gone. And so she started screaming. And so they put me in the ambulance. And that is when I saw myself hovering over my body, seeing my mother crying. And I'm thinking, that is weird, right? So, but there was this ambulance guy, and he had curly blonde hair. And I still remember very clearly thinking, my God, he's so cute. Right. And so he's kept reviving me, but I left my body and I went to the other side. But when I came back, of course, I was, not only in shock, I was wounded. So I actually had no face anymore. Like literally I had a face, but all the skin was gone. And then my mother told me that they had to go plastic surgery. And I said, no, I refuse. I'm going to heal myself. That's what I told my mom. And so I started putting my hands on my face. I have to understand, people, when you're Catholic, you don't heal yourself. It's Jesus heals you, Mary heals you, saints heal you, God heals you, but not yourself. But anyhow, a few weeks later, I had again an amazing skin. So that's when I found out the first time the power of healing energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, what a fantastic story. My gosh, we could dive deep into healing energy and everything. So, but thank you for sharing that, because I know that was probably pretty traumatic, but where you're at, you deal with it pretty well. I'm gonna shift gears here a little bit. Going back to your appearance in the movie The Secret, I recently saw you on a video speaking about having your own vision board with your desire to be in a movie. Can you elaborate what a vision board is and why it's so powerful? It worked.
Yeah. Well, we sometimes have thoughts like of the things we want to do, and then we can write them down. Yeah, but then we forget where the papers are. We forget like where the journals are, or we never read them again. So I started when I was about 9, creating a vision wall. Like I had a vision wall at my home where I put like images of people I wanted to meet, places to go. So because I was like not thinking I would ever go there anyhow, right? But I would see it all the time. Yeah. And so I kept doing the same thing. And I didn't even know other people were having a vision board. But then when I moved to America, I was like, I need to be very clear about the things I want to do. And I moved to San Francisco. And I thought at that time, well, I'm not far from Hollywood. So what if I want to reach millions of people and I would be in a movie? So I did hang another paper out and I put post-it notes on it, and I wrote things on it. And there was a yellow post-it note. I will never forget that. And I wrote down on it, I'm going to be in a movie seen by millions of people that will transform the world. And so I stuck it on there. But I've also learned with feng shui that it's important to have symbols out, to have not just a written text, but just put some symbols. So I actually I bought myself a fake Oscar, put my name Marie Diamond on it. And that was 2001. So I thought, 2005, I need a few years. I just started, right? So I put that there, and I also put it in my success direction because that's a feng shui aspect that I'm going to elaborate on. And so I put that there, and and one of the things is what happens with a vision board is that you have like it's almost like a message out to the universe, and it's visible, and you can go and read it, and it's there. Like I almost say it's like being on Times Square in New York. You have like a market space, right? And you put like a marketing out. So it's like I'm marketing to the universe. Like this is what I want, right? So within a few weeks, literally, I had my first important client, and it was Marcy Shimoff, who's also in The Secret, by the way. And she led me to John Gray and to Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor, Marianne Williamson. So suddenly all these people became my clients, to work around energy, to meditation, to do feng shui for them. So this total unknown person was suddenly mentoring and supporting all these very well-known people. I had no idea they existed before I moved to America, by the way. And so, but that is how I was led to The Secret. But I also attract a lot of people from Hollywood. That ultimately led me to move to LA because I had so many clients in Hollywood that were having real Oscars. So it was really interesting. For me, a vision board is like, it is a place where I am focused on what I really desire. Not just with, a lot of people just do images, but I like to have a combination of text and images. I also love to have it in my success direction. So based on feng shui, based on your birthday, you have a compass direction when you're born that always is a success energy for you. This is like the best place to attract success. And people can actually go and download my free Marie Diamond app, and on iPhone or on Apple for iOS, and they have to put in their birthday and their gender, and it will calculate, and it will give them an energy number. And then they will also have a compass. So on the compass, you will see southwest is my success direction. So this is mine. I don't know what yours is. So in my success direction, that's where I hang my vision board, in my office or in my bedroom. In the living room, it's a little bit more delicate because a lot of people come in there. You don't want to have that. But like a place where you are staying a lot of time. So not the kitchen, not the bathroom. So a place where you are sleeping or living or working. Yeah. And so as you have it there, you are not just subconsciously connecting with the universe because it's present in the success area, but it's also you can consciously connect with it by looking at it and talking about it. And so for me, I would look at my vision board and say, oh, this is what I want to manifest. And I'm grateful and I send love and light towards it. And, it really works. I mean, I got into the secret, right? I got so many clients by just putting their name or their picture on their vision board, places I wanted to live. So for me, it is a channeled energy field. Yeah. Instead of having ideas in your mind, it is a focused idea, and it's easier to work with than like journaling, because if you put things in a journal, you have to go back to that page. Where did I put that again? Now it's all there. And I like to work on a yearly vision board. Yeah. So I actually teach people the yearly vision board because it's based with feng shui, different colors, different keywords. And so my students do that every year with me. Just one tip, make sure you put your picture in the center of the page or the paper. So you're telling I'm the center of the universe, and that everything around you is coming towards you. So you are the center of the law of attraction.
Wow, this is such phenomenal information, and it really, really is amazing. I think a vision board is a great example of the law of attraction, knowing that everything is energy and our thoughts are real energy as you put it out there. And I like the fact that you said that a vision board can be easier than a journal, because you have a vision board on your wall and you just look at it and glance at it, and it aligns you energetically immediately. One going back to The Secret, one of your cohorts in the movie, John Asseroff, had a great example of a vision board where he had created a vision board with his ultimate dream home he wanted to live in, and then they moved and stuff, and it got put away and everything. And he said one day he was unpacking the boxes, talking to his young child, and he pulled out the vision board and he looked at it and just kind of did a double take. And the picture of the house that he had put on his vision board was where he was living, and he didn't even realize it. He goes, "Oh my God, it works."
Yeah, so it's really interesting when I make a vision board, or I tell my students to make a vision board. I always say make a picture of it, even if it's yearly, you're changing it. Mm-hmm. And once it's manifested, just put the word thank you on it and leave it there with a few days or a few weeks with the word thank you on it. And then you can change it, So I remember I forgot myself one day. I did had a dream that I would meet Jerry Hall, who is the ex of Mick Jagger. Yeah. And I put a very little picture of her on my vision board. Yeah. And then about 7 years later, I get a phone call from her out of the blue saying, I'm doing a BBC show and I would love to have you on my show to talk about feng shui. And I was like, oh, this is great. And we became really close. And then I started working with the Rolling Stones to work on their homes and so on. And then my husband said, but Marie, you had her on your vision board, like a very small, tiny picture. I mean, I even forgot about it, but he said that you had, and I said, you did. I did. I had to dream. It was like 10 years ago almost, but I would say the universe doesn't forget. Yeah. So even if you take it away, it's the same with John Asseroff. He forgot about it, but the universe doesn't.
Well, this is a good example of just what powerful creators we are, but we don't realize it until we put our effort and our focus and energy out there, and the universe responds in kind. Wow, this is great. We're speaking with Marie Diamond, an amazing, amazing teacher of the law of attraction and feng shui and dowsing and etc. Speaking of that, I do want to go back. You've touched on it quite a bit. Let's find out more. One of your main teachings and practices is the ancient Chinese energy feng shui. Now, I think you already explained how you got to it, but what does feng shui really entail and how does it work?
So feng shui is actually an energy system of the environment. So I call it the quantum physics of your home. So it's actually, I would say, created by shamans in China thousands of years ago that became aware of how their house, their field, the landscape had energy on them. That there was some good luck if you lived in a certain place and some bad luck happening to you if you lived in a different place. I mean, I would say in the beginning, it was just like very following the laws of nature. Like literally, if you have a home and you would have the door at the north side, then each time you open the door in the winter, it's the cold comes in, right? So you would close off the north and you would have a front door at the south, because when you open to the south, you have sunshine coming in. I mean, it's that practical in the beginning. Yeah. So, but that evolved over the thousands of years, and feng shui means literally wind and water. So it's all about the flow of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So first they looked at landscape, then later they looked at where to build a house in the landscape. Then they would look inside inside the house. So I would say right now most people look at the inside. In the beginning, people focus on health. Yeah. So if you have the door in the wrong side, you would have more cold. So that would be, you would get more problems with your health. So in the beginning, it was about health. Later on, it was more focused towards power, feeling powerful in your life, and especially because the Chinese emperors would use it, to stay into power, to have a long reign. And then later on, it was more focused towards relationships and money. But money is like what a lot of people right now think about first when they think about good luck with feng shui. But that was not originally this way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, feng shui, why I started using it, because I remember studying with my grandmaster, Yap Hai. He passed away already, but he told me that the law of attraction had 3 aspects. And that triggered something for me very intensely, because I knew about the law of attraction. He said the first part of law of attraction is your karma, it's your destiny. So when your soul comes into that vessel, that is your body, it already has the law of attraction at work. You attract to be born in a certain place. Think about in astrology, we'll talk about that, right? You have already certain destiny in unfolding at that moment. Perhaps you have some gifts, some talents, perhaps you already have some challenges when you're born. So that is part of your law of attraction. It's not 100%, but it's still changeable. Yeah. So for example, when you're born, I was born in Belgium, but I moved to many places all over the world. My destiny will change, because if I would have stayed in Belgium, I would have done something else in my life, for sure. Right. So the second part is what we call the human aspect of the law of attraction. And that is how we think, how we feel, and what we do in life. So that's, I would say, most people in the law of attraction will focus on that part. And it's, according to my feng shui master, 33%. The first is the 33% of the spiritual luck, and then 33% human luck. And the last part is where you live, where you sleep, where you work. Your environment has also an influence. And that is where feng shui talks about. I kind of tell people, like, it's great to make a vision board, but you have to understand everything around you is a vision board. Yeah. Your home is a vision board. It's 3-dimensional. Yeah. But the way you sleep, the things that surround you, the colors, the way you place certain things, it all has a subconscious influence. For example, if you want to get married or you want romance, and you come in your house and you see all the time images of single people in your artwork, you're actually telling to your subconscious, I'm okay by being single. Yeah. So if you have clutter all around you and you're saying, well, I want to manifest my goals, but the universe is saying, well, in order for me to land, to bring this goals, this manifestation to you, there needs to be order. There needs to be an open space for you to have all these gifts coming to you. So you have to organize things around you. So there is a system that is called feng shui that you can compare with, like, acupuncture to the body, or qigong or tai chi. It's all about the moving of qi, but this time in your house. So for me, it made total sense, because I started practicing that when I was 15 without really knowing what I was doing. But then I started really sharing that. And now we have more than 1 million online students that have studied feng shui with me.
Wow, this is just great information. And I'll tell you, being a wild and crazy bachelor living with a cat, I think I need a weed whacker and a leaf blower to feng shui my place where I live. I definitely, I think everybody could use this information and it is valuable. I have yet to download your app. I am going to do that. I did download your energy report the other day, the PDF, the free PDF, and found out my energy number is the number 4. So I'm still looking. I think that my direction is north, that type of thing. But so let's actually talk about it, because I think you talk about something called energy codes. Don't you have a book by that name or about that subject?
So yeah, I have the energy number ebook and book. Yeah, you can go to Amazon. Yeah, so you can, and it works together with the app. Yeah, so it's very important because we need to work with the compass, and people don't know really how to work with compass anymore. So that's why we have created a system that once you have your profile in, that you have your direction. So for you, north is your success direction, and east is your relationship direction. So for you, you need to take your app and stand in the center of the space where you live, like your living room, where your workspace is, and your bedroom, of course, and see what is there right now in the east. Yeah. So if it's, for example, in the east, there's dead flowers, for example, well, your romance will be dead. Yeah. If you have a garbage can there, well, you throw the romance in the garbage can. When you put there an image of a loving couple, or the word love, or 2 hearts, it's almost like you're telling the universe constantly, even if you are not aware of it, but also your subconscious mind, I am open to love. I'm open to romance. Yeah. So it's all about almost, I would say, magnetizing your space around you so that your subconscious mind start creating the right things. Because so many times people have said, oh, I did all the things, I did all my affirmations, I did all my meditations, and I come in their house and I said, it's not possible. Yeah. Just thinking about Jerry Hall, for example, I come into her house and everywhere were images of herself laying down, even above her bed, laying down naked, beautiful, right? But she's telling, I'm naked alone by myself in my bedroom. Yeah. So I said to her, if that's what you want, that's fine. I mean, there's no judgment about it, right? So, but is that what you want? And she said, no, I want romance. So we changed everything around her. And then, she attracted another partner. So it's all about, sometimes we want certain things, but our subconscious home is actually telling a different story. And that story around us is told 24 hours a day. Because even if you're not aware of it and you're living there, you're sleeping somewhere, you're living somewhere, you're working somewhere, and it tells all the time subconscious messages to your subconscious mind. And it's perhaps contradicting what you really have in your mind and in your heart of what you really desire. So guess who will win? It's your home, because it's bigger and it's constantly focused on this energy, while you are perhaps focusing on it 15 minutes a day in the morning, doing your affirmations, right? And then the rest of the day, you're doing other things and you're just yourself, but your home is stable. I'm frozen here.
Yeah, I think we're okay. Are you okay now?
No, I'm not.
I can hear you. Your image is a little shaky, a little herky jerky, but um, well, why don't you keep talking? And I think as long as the audio is good.
Okay, great. Yes. You can still hear me well, Carl?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. So for something, yeah. So we have to become aware that, if the manifestation is not happening, it's perhaps not your mindset. Perhaps it is not your destiny that is in play, but that your home is telling a different story.
Mhm. I think everything that you're talking about is incredibly important for people to realize, and most people don't realize exactly what you're talking about. The things around your home that are constantly surrounding you, if they're out of alignment with your true desires of your heart, and all of those misalignments are sinking subconsciously into your body and energetically too. So important to know that.
Yes, correct. And, I remember when I was working with Rhonda Byrne from The Secret, and she was telling me The Secret is not working, Marie. It's nobody is interested in it. And I said, let me come and do my magic in your space. And so I asked her, what do you want? And she said, I want to be on Oprah. And I was like, well, let's get an Oprah magazine and let me put it in your success direction. And then I called several of the clients that I had, they are in The Secret actually already at that time, that I'm saying, can you please put an Oprah image in your success direction so that at least that we have a consistent message. And a
Mm.
few months later, Oprah called them because she got the DVD and the book, and the rest was history.
Wow. Yeah. There's another amazing human being, Oprah Winfrey, who has been such a positive influence in the world and in the law of attraction and inspiration and motivation. Oh my gosh, Marie, I'm just, there's so many things that I would like to ask you, but I would like to do this. Your spiritual practices, and you've already touched on this quite a bit as a youngster. Can you speak to meditation and the overall importance and what it can do for an individual if you focus and do meditation properly?
Yes, for me, meditation is my daily shower of light, I call it. It's like we are showering our body, but we are not connecting daily with our light, with our soul energy. And so for me, even if it's 5 minutes and I'm actually on the app, there's a free meditation that I'm doing since I'm 7 years old. That's the exact meditation I was receiving by my master. And it's I work with colors because colors are vibrational fields. And so I do what I call the tubes of light meditation. I start every morning with that. And as I'm doing that, I become lighter and lighter. And it's like focusing on your shower of light, literally. Like you are upgrading your vibration every morning. And I love to do it in the morning and I love to do it in the evening.
Mhm.
I'm not a meditator that does hours of meditation. I don't have time for that, to be honest,
Mhm.
because being of service is my greatest aspect of spirituality. But daily meditation, it just keeps the energy going. And I have to be honest, when I look, Carl, and I was just with family last week in Belgium, and I'm 60, and then I see them, how they look heavy. They look like their face is like so tired, and they're asking me like, how do you do that? How do you look so young? How do you look so vibrant? How do you have so much joy and happiness? And I'm like, well, because I meditate every day, like every day I'm connecting in with my soul again. I'm connecting in with my mission, my vision for the world in a positive way. If I would not do my meditation, I would not feel dirty because my physical body is washed, but I would feel heavy.
So we of course are talking to the amazing Marie Diamond. And Marie, one question that I ask each and every one of my guests here for 4 years now, and this is the main mission of this show, World Awakenings. Why do you think that the people of the world are now more than ever awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening?
Well, I think right now we are in what we really call the Aquarius sign, where, and I think a lot of people talk the Aquarius time was starting in 2012. I always said to my students it would really start in 2024, but that before we were hitting it completely, we would go to a standstill. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I've been predicting this for like 20 years, that we would have a collective standstill. I did not know that it was going to call Corona, right? So the COVID epidemic. But what we see is that we are right now moving from the Piscean energy to the Aquarian energy. The Piscean energy is all about following others, while the Aquarius is saying, find yourself. Yeah, find yourself. And sorry, somebody's calling me. I didn't take this one off. So we see that we are now going from a Piscean time where everybody's following a leader, following the shepherd, following auspicious, right, into the flow of somebody else. We're coming now in a time where everybody has to connect in with their own source. The Aquarius is saying, follow your own intuition, follow who you are. And so we are in that shift now in this transition time where we literally need to start listening to ourselves. And because of that, we are awakening to stand still. Is that what I really desire? Is this really my focus? Is this really my purpose in life? So because when you think about the school of fish, literally the fish is not thinking about what is my purpose here, right? They just follow the other fish. And we're still a little bit in that experience where a lot of people right now are following the influencers or following the celebrities, right? So some of them are still doing that, but more and more people start asking the questions. And I do believe that that silent time that we all had by staying in our home, people start questioning themselves, like, is this what my life is about? Is this the focus for the future? Is this what I want in life? So they ask the questions. And I do believe the Aquarius time is first of all about asking questions. Yeah. So the same that I had to ask questions when I was 15, like, oh, this is my life. How can I do that? What is my difference I can make to the world? So we're all coming to that questioning time. And when we ask questions, we do awaken, because we will get to other answers that are not the answers of our parents, not the answers of perhaps our leaders, not the answers of the people we've been following, and not the answers of our environment or surroundings or community. So we all need to start waking up to the answers that are right for us. Yeah. And so I do believe the more people are awakening, the more people that have the courage, because it takes courage, as you know, to listen to your own answers. Yeah. And the more you are listening to that and you thrive based on the answers that you received, and that your life is more happy and more successful and more blooming and more joyful and more courageous, other people start asking also the question. I call it an addictive wave of questioning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's actually it's addictive. When you see other people having answers and they're like, oh, what is she doing? What is she doing that makes their life different? They become, part of that wave. Yeah. And also when you are in that wave of questioning and the wave of awakening, you also feel the responsibility to help others to waken up. That is why it is so growing. Yeah, and you see it in the self-help. I started literally 30 years ago professionally to do this work. I mean, at a time when, there were people ready to listen. There were people that are open and awakening. But, at that time, people would call us, crazy, let's be honest, right? And now it's like it's more mainstream already, it's more mainstream than we imagine. And so I'm very happy that I'm living right now. It's the most thrilling time because we see so much awakening. People that were not ready for my work 30 years ago. I was with family last weekend, and they were like, oh, I've been following you on Facebook. And I'm like, really? Like, I can't imagine these people literally called me 30 years ago as part of a cult. They told me I was a cult member. And I'm like, I'm not a cult member. I'm just thinking about things. And now they're following me and they're like, oh, I'm starting to practice a few of your things. and we're 30 years later. Yeah. And so I'm thinking, yes, and what in the next 10 years, because it's exponentially growing, because that wave cannot be stopped. It's impossible.
I think, speaking for myself, and I think speaking for many millions of people in the world, I think at some point in the last few years, the last couple decades, people of the world like myself have said, oh my gosh, there's got to be something better than this, than turning on the TV and seeing another war, another attack, another school shooting. There is something better than this. And with the advent of the technology that is available, like you and I talking on a video conferencing platform live like this, it is allowing us, people like you and myself as a podcaster and a life coach, to reach a larger and larger audience. I mean, whereas prior to the internet, perhaps you might have reached 5 million, and now you reach 500 million. And so it is the time, it's the right time at the right place in the world for this type of awakening to happen. And thank God for people like you. I mean, what you have done to help people awaken to these things is just so beautiful. And as you do it, so too do you awaken. I know I've awakened to a lot of things that I never contemplated before. So yeah, I think this is a very, very important time in humanity.
It is. I'm so happy to be here. Of course, it's still for a lot of people out there in humanity a very difficult time, and we need to acknowledge that also, that we are here of service for them. And perhaps you cannot help them directly, but you can help them by meditation. You can help them with prayer. You can help them with being of service, perhaps through your own local church or your local community. Try at least to do as much as you can, because even if they do not are aware of this awakening, we can send them light and love and prayers, and they do work. Yeah. So they do get that positive vibration, perhaps at night in a dream, or they feel that somebody's guiding them. So, part of the new service of Aquarius is not just to do meditation, is not just to do affirmations, but also to be of service to to create a greater humankind. And so that starts with being kind to the humans that are around you.
Boy, that's a great place to start too. I have another question. I am just curious on a personal basis of this. With you constantly teaching others on how to do all the energy modalities to create a better, healthier, happier, and more abundant life for themselves. Now, do you ever find it hard to continue practicing these things in your own life? And I ask this because being a life coach, and I'm also a running coach because I've been a runner forever. And the old adage is do as the coach says, don't do as the coach does. So I mean, is it hard sometimes for you, or is it just so ingrained in your life when you close the doors and turn off your computer? Is it hard for you to continue practicing these things?
Yeah, it's something about discipline, that becomes, I've gone through my years of discipline, at a very early age. Well, now it's become part of my lifestyle, part of who I am. So I do understand a lot of people when they start that, it's very hard to create a discipline, in changing your life. But I'm telling you, after a while, it becomes really part of who you are. So for me, it is, I think it's who I have become, I would say, was it harder when I had young children? Yes, for sure. It was harder to get to time to do meditation. And then perhaps I would skip a day or two, but, always go back to doing it, just don't stop, and don't judge yourself, and don't be upset with yourself when you did not do it. Just keep going back to where you ended and keep going, right? So now, of course, I'm in a different place. My kids are out of the house. It's just my husband and my 2 French bulldogs, and I'm traveling quite a bit, but my life is much easier on many levels. But even if there are times that there were crisis moments when there was not the flow of energy that I had now, that I didn't have the success and the money at the time, that's just a time when you have to keep doing it, because that's when you need it even the most. So now it's part of who I am, but I understand it's not always easy to keep going.
Well, Marie, I would love to talk to you so much, but we've been having internet issues here. So I guess perhaps maybe we can schedule another time to talk again. I mean, we covered a lot of ground here, and I just love talking to you. Marie Diamond, one of the greatest and most well-known teachers of the law of attraction, feng shui, dowsing, you name it, energy work. I'm going to have to go download your app here, and I am just so excited to have you on the show. You've been so sweet and kind to be on World Awakenings today. One last thing, how can people connect with you, find out about your events, your apps, your books, etc.? What is your website?
Yeah, my website is mariediamond.com, but you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. There's a lot of free information out there. Of course, getting your free app, because that's how it starts. And go to Amazon, get my books on Kindle or in normal book format. I mean, there's so much information out there. So go and start.
Yeah, and folks, I can guarantee you, if you do that, if you check out what Marie has to offer, you will not be disappointed. She is the real deal. So I am going to go start decluttering and working on my vision board right now. And Marie, thank you for being on World Awakenings.
Thank you so much, Gar. It was a huge pleasure and honor for me.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.